So we all know definitely that there is a plastic pollution problem. And so we branded our company as a co-packaging because we believe that everyone really has their own personal responsibility to really take care of Mother Earth. So that's why we call ourselves a co-packaging. Next slide. So, as I'm sure everyone hears all the time, there's a huge plastic pollution problem, not just in the Philippines, but everywhere in the world. And there's a lot of mismanaged waste. So, next slide, please. We wanted to really focus on the solutions for this problem. So, renewable bioplastics is something that we thought would be one way to help the plastic pollution problem, right? So, cassava bags really fall under the category of renewable bioplastics. Um, it's renewable because, of course, it's made from plant based raw materials. Um, the cassava bags also really promote circular systems. Why? So I think it's important for everyone to understand that we should be consuming things that can easily go back to the earth, diba? Things that can easily be absorbed by our soil, whether you're in Los Angeles, you're in Hawaii, you're in Japan, or in the Philippines, because whatever we consume nowadays, we're so mindless about what we buy. These things really turn into trash, can't be reconsumed by our earth, and so we experience all this flooding, we experience all this, um, well, basically all the changes in our climate, right? So our bags are easily absorbable by Mother Earth, and so it promotes circular systems. So for those that don't understand circular systems, please go look it up. Next slide, please. So our materials are made purely out of cassava starch. For those that are not familiar with cassava, just think of kamote. Okay, it looks very similar to the kamote, but it's white. But I'm sure, being if a lot of the people watching right now are Filipinos, you should be familiar with cassava and at least have eaten cassava cake once, right? So our bags are made purely out of cassava starch. So that means that it's completely microplastic free. We also do not add PLA or PBAT into our raw materials. So you may be familiar already, especially if you live in the US, you may be familiar with a lot of bioplastics that are in the market. But usually these bags are made out of corn, which has PLA or even PBAT. So PBAT means that it has petrochemicals. Our products don't have any petrochemicals at all. So when something doesn't have any petrochemical or microplastic, in turn, the bag is home compostable. So let's say you went to your weekend market and you use our cassava bags to buy produce. When you get home, you can home compost it already if you have a composting corner in your house. Okay, next slide, please. We also make sure that we have all the tests and certificates to provide for our clients, especially the big ones who are required um, by governments to follow their EPR laws. There is an EPR law in the US also, um, just like the Philippines. So we have tests and certificates to support our products. And it can help with all this plastic audits for companies. Next slide, please. All right. So, of course, we know that there are other alternatives in the market right now. It's not just, we're not saying it should just be the cassava bag, right? But we want to give everyone like a clear picture of where we stand in terms of price, strength, functionality, source, production, and disposal is also very important. So, first, let's start with price, diba? Um, we're really not going to be cheaper than plastic. We're not even aligned to the price of plastic. because we're not plastic. However, if you compare our price to the paper bags, some eco bags, we can be cheaper at times, really. When it comes to the strength, cassava bags are actually quite functional and strong, but because it is purely plant based, it is quite sensitive to moisture in the atmosphere, right? So we just have to be a little bit more open minded about this new product. Of course, as I've been mentioning, the source of the cassava bag are plants. It's purely plant based. We don't have any plastic or petroleum in the bag. In terms of the production, I would say it's quite sustainable because we don't use a lot of water to produce the bags. So, if we're really going to be strict about whether or not our packaging is sustainable, we should also look into how something is produced. So, I'm sure some of you already know that a lot of water and power is consumed in the factories that produce the eco bags and the paper bags. Definitely, a lot of um, a lot of um, plastic is used in the production of plastic bags, right? In terms of disposal, I think the cassava bags would probably win in the world of alternatives because they are all home compostable. So, next slide, please. We can skip this slide and go to the next. All right, so our products. Our factory has only been alive since 2022. Um, we are still growing. We don't have the widest range of designs. However, we do have designs that can fit a lot of people's daily needs. So, next slide, please. One of our very popular designs is the t shirt bag or the sando bag. This can definitely be used in groceries, in weekend markets. It can also be used for bazaars. It can definitely be used as takeout bags for restaurants. So this is really bagay for those kinds of activities, which we find we do every day. So, calling out all these Filipinos or kababayans who own groceries in the States or restaurants and you're still using plastic takeout bags, please try to consider the cassava bag. Next slide, please. We also have this design, which is the mailers or the parcel bags or delivery pouches, which is a great substitute for what you receive when you order something from Amazon or you ship something through DHL or FedEx. So we have been making this cassava mailers, and some big brands here in the Philippines have actually switched to the cassava mailers so that they can lessen their plastic footprint. Especially because nowadays, e-commerce is a way of life. Everyone shops online. In your household, I'm sure you receive something through the mail at least once a month because your son, your daughter, your wife has shopped online. So, yeah. Next slide, please. And then we have the grip hole bag, which is great for retail shops that sell clothes, jewelry, books, magazines, and those kinds of things. So, of course, it's very similar to the t shirt bag design, but it gives a more premium look. So, it's more aligned with dry goods and not food. Next slide, please. So we also have the multi-use pouch. The multi-use pouch can be used in many different ways. If you are in the fashion business, this could be used as garment wraps. This could also be used again for produce. It's great for gift wrapping, and it can also be used in many different ways. So one of the things that I would like to propose to the US market is to use this as pet poop bags. So, like the doggy bags to pick up the waste of your pets, that would be a good way to repackage and rebrand our multi use pouch. Other ways also would be to use it as gift wrapping. So that's another option. Next slide, please. The bigger the bigger sizes for our multi-use pouches can be reused or rebranded or repackaged as laundry bags or trash liners. So I am a user for own product. I've been using these bags for 3 years as my laundry bag. And then when I pick up my laundry, I reuse them as trash liners and they work perfect. Um, so it's another thing that's good to sell. If you have a grocery, you can resell it as laundry bags or trash liners. Okay, next slide, please. So we have standard designs, of course. We have the popular I am a cassava bag design or the hindi ako plastic design. But we have the capacity to print branding or logos or different designs in our bags depending on what you, our client, would want. So if you want to print your brand or logo, we can do that definitely. Um, or we can come up with funny and witty ways of saying hindi ako plastic in different languages, right? Next slide, please. We also can produce our bags in 12 different colors. So I know that I'm only presenting 10 in this deck, but we also have green and we also have aquamarine. So we do that. And we can print brands and logos in the standard white and black, red, green, yellow. So actually we can close the presentation here.